So I just revisited the 1987 John Carpenter film, Prince of Darkness. I did so with the new 4K release from Scream Factory. Now it's an amazing set and I highly recommend picking it up. But with this video, I wanted to focus more on the film itself and share some thoughts and memories on it. This review will contain some spoilers, so beware. I first heard about Prince of Darkness all the way back in 1987 after my parents bought me issue number 69 of Fangoria magazine. I remember being enamored by this cover as a kid. The back of the magazine even included an advertisement for the film, and this poster would later be hanging on my bedroom wall throughout my childhood. The coverage inside the magazine included lots of amazing pictures, including one of Dr. Loomis himself brandishing a fire axe. Now that alone had me excited as a kid. I ended up seeing the movie for the first time when it was released on VHS in July of 1988. I absolutely loved it from that first viewing. Prince of Darkness is about a group of graduate students, scientists, and a priest investigating an ancient canister of green liquid found in the basement of an abandoned church. Now inside the canister is an ancient evil force that controls insects, homeless people, and eventually turns members of the group into liquid-spewing zombies. The film involves God, the anti-God, science, faith, and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's kind of a hard movie to explain in some ways, and it really just needs to be watched and experienced. Right off the bat, the movie had me hooked with the amazing John Carpenter score. The opening credits are interspersed through the first 9 minutes of the movie. I've read some complaints that it takes too long to get through the credits, but I love it. The music really sets the tone for the film, and it always gets me pumped for the movie. The cast is fantastic and made up of a lot of Carpenter regulars. Victor Wong and Dennis Dun are fresh off of working with Carpenter on Big Trouble in Little China. I've always loved Dennis Dun's smart-ass lines throughout the movie.
Look, am I crazy or are we stroking ourselves heavily here?
I believe this is the only time Jameson Parker worked with John Carpenter, and it's a shame because he does a great job here. Now I've always really loved this piece of music here. Now I can't tell you how many times I've heard this and many other movie tunes in my head over the years during everyday life. Donald Pleasence plays a priest, and he's my favorite character in the movie. I've actually seen him referred to as Father Loomis before in some reviews and coverage of the movie, but he's never actually given a name in the film. He has a nice character arc and tons of great scenes. He really elevates every line of dialogue and every moment he appears in the film. Now he and Victor Wong play off each other beautifully, and I really love their scenes together. But the entire cast is fantastic. It's really a nice ensemble, and they have so many great moments that I love. I've always loved movies where characters are trapped or isolated, and the creepy church, surrounded by zombie-like homeless people, is an excellent setting for a horror movie. Now speaking of homeless people, I've read some reviews where people found it offensive that the evil force was able to control insects and the homeless, as if Carpenter was trying to say that the homeless people are, quote, lower life forms or something. I didn't get that impression at all. These people were schizophrenic and had other mental issues that enabled the evil to influence and control them. Now, it's probably not a good enough explanation for today's overly sensitive environment, but it works in the film. The movie is beautifully directed by John Carpenter, who once again fully utilizes the 2:3:5 aspect ratio. Carpenter is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, and every shot here is framed and lit perfectly. I just love it. The dread-filled images and atmosphere are brought to life by his excellent musical score. Now, the score itself is almost like another character in the film. I remember reading Ebert's mixed review of the movie, where he complained about the music being too overbearing and obnoxious. I couldn't disagree more. The musical score is a very important part of the film, and I just think it's used perfectly here. Oh, and I have to mention the dreams. The characters all start having the same dream, and it is so creepy and well done. It turns out the dreams are a message from the future. I still remember how creeped out I was as a kid watching this scene for the first time. You have to remember, I first watched this in the late 80s, and when the voice says 199 and then cuts off, it honestly creeped me out. Now it's outdated, of course, but the idea is still pretty scary. Now, when Prince of Darkness was first released, the critical reaction was mixed to negative. And I remember it not being that popular when I used to haunt the horror movie message boards back in the 90s. But like so many of John Carpenter's films, it has finally gained the respect it deserves. But I am proud to say that I've loved this movie from the start, even as a little kid when I first watched it. So yes, if you haven't seen this movie yet, please check it out. The Scream Factory 4K bundle is still available, and it's an excellent set. The 2-disc release, which includes a Blu-ray disc and a 4K disc, includes tons of interviews, a commentary track, trailers, and a look at the filming locations. The video and audio presentation is flawless, and the movie has never looked better. This was actually my first time watching a 4K movie on my brand new 75-inch TV, and boy, it was beautiful. Now, it should be noted that the previous Scream Factory release has identical special features to this one. The only difference is the 4K presentation. Prince of Darkness is one of my favorite John Carpenter films of all time. Simply put, it's a masterpiece.